Welcome back to Hannity and Combs. Recently, we sat down for an exclusive interview with radio talk show hosts Opie and Anthony.
I listen to your show. I have XM.
We're really funny, aren't we?
Yeah. Yes, as a matter of fact.
And shocking. And
and you hate those terms, but you push the envelope and you push it hard.
Right.
At the most boring times are the times you've had me on. And why you're a liberal, I don't know.
Sell yourself short.
But in all seriousness, when you got in trouble in Boston, you had an April Fool's joke. You said the mayor's dead. You got fired in Boston. We had the Sex for Sam thing. Do you worry? Is it in the back of your head? You don't want to screw this up.
Yeah, I think we've learned from our mistakes, and I think we want to keep this job for a while. And
we were in a while.
Well, no, we were on a runaway train with all those shocking things. And I mean, how do you beat sex in a church? So I think Anthony and I have put that part of our careers behind us, and we're going to move forward with our show.
There was a point in radio where when you screwed up, you screwed up. You got a better job.
Right.
Something happened. And it was just about the time with the Sex for Sam thing where
I think the case could be made. It happened in your career, going from Boston to New York.
Right.
Going to XM, and now...
It absolutely did. Well, at the beginning, when we got fired for the Sex for Sam, we were out of work for 2 years. Believe me, we'd have rather been working.
Right.
We got hired at XM, but that was also at a point where satellite radio was just starting to really take off. It wasn't a graveyard of jocks, but it was one of those places where... Personally, we would have preferred to be on FM at the time.
All right. Big question is, there's a huge rivalry now between you guys and Howard.
Not anymore.
All right.
We have the bigger audience now.
All right. But now, because I recently interviewed him, he's a nice guy. Anthony, I remember years ago, you said nice things about him on the air.
Absolutely. I was a fan. I grew up on Long Island. I mean, just
happened?
like everybody else listening. The guy made our lives miserable when we worked for Infinity Broadcasting. He put a gag order on us, so we couldn't talk about him. He didn't like somebody else being successful in his city, in New York, his home base. We were in a different day part. We were doing afternoons. He was doing mornings.
Hey, you guys were killing me.
Yeah, we were having fun with you at the time.
Right.
And he didn't like that. He just didn't like that.
All right, where is it now? I mean, because you're now on his old stations in his day part.
Right.
You know,
sitting in his chair, by the way.
In his exact chair?
Yeah.
That's what they told us. We got rid of it, though.
You did get rid of it?
Yeah.
You didn't?
No, I didn't want to actually sit in his chair. Yeah.
I don't like money.
But is it just, it's not personal, you don't care, you're just moving on, but you do have a lot of fun with it, you talk about it a lot on the air.
I don't know the guy personally. I never met him. I've heard from people.
I think you like him. He was a nice guy.
You know, I met the guy. He seemed nice enough. Never met him personally. On a business basis, I won't use the language.
But you guys are now in the catbird. Did you ever?
Yeah, it's his turn.
Yeah, we actually take turns on the show. You know how that works? Do you? It's tough having a partner, isn't it? I mean, it's got to drive you nuts. I mean, you got to be thinking, I can do this by myself.
Please, every day, especially when they're liberal.
Yeah, right. You know what? I think I can relate to how you're feeling. I think I kind of get it. Did you ever have? Sean talked about some of the incidents you've had with the mayor of Boston. You've now invited to welcome you back to Boston, but he
has no comment.
He hasn't done that yet.
He has no comment on our
was there ever a moment
Boston.
where you really saw your career flashing before your eyes and thought, we're never getting back, it's not going to happen?
The Sex for Sam thing, absolutely.
Yeah. You never thought you'd make it back?
It was scary. I mean, we had to sit out for 2.5 years. We weren't getting many opportunities.
You were getting paid?
We were getting paid, but...
We'd rather work.
But you want to work.
We're creative people, and it killed us that we couldn't do a radio show for that time.
And when you went to XM, did you say, you know, we'd rather be on terrestrial, but although, you know, XM is...
We tried to make this deal about 18 months ago, but people they just weren't ready.
The FM offers weren't flying in, let's say. Right. After that, it was one of those things where I give CBS Radio a lot of credit, even this many years later, to take the chance and bring us on board like this.
Now, you talked about Howard. Now, wouldn't the ideal lineup would have been Howard in the morning, you guys in the afternoon? That would have been a
We did that.
tremendous lineup.
When we were syndicated, we did that.
Yeah.
We just didn't have that in New York, but in other markets, it was Howard in the morning, us in the afternoon, and the stations were doing quite well.
And you would think that would work really wonderfully.
It worked well. It got very good ratings.
Where do you draw the line now? You know, you said you've learned from your mistakes, you've gone through all of that, but is there a line that you can definitely define now and say, we will not go past this?
Racist, pedophile humor.
I see.
Yeah, threatening 4-year-olds with guns.
Yeah. You have no longer done the worst thing ever done in radio, right?
No, we're second place now.
Yeah.
You
Apparently.
should explain that for people.
Yeah, let's explain that to our
Star is a jock here in New York City that got fired recently for making some really, really nasty comments about a competitor's 4-year-old daughter. And he got fired and arrested for making threats to this girl. And I think that's a point where maybe you should have thought before you opened your
Now you're doing terrestrial for a few hours, and you do XM exclusively. How is the material different? How is the approach different? Once satellite's there and
it's much dirtier.
Is that right?
That's when we just let it all out.
It's, on FM radio, you get in there and make believe you're at holiday dinner with grandma. Right. Use that language. And then over at XM, you just,
it's like you're doing two different shows, so your whole mindset's got to be.
Absolutely two different shows, But then you try to keep a common thread going through the whole process.
I said to you guys the last time you deserved another chance.
Right.
You got it in a big way.
Big way, the biggest.
It really is.
It is. Best of both worlds. Satellite,
I should have brought a calendar, because everywhere you go, you get in a lot of trouble, both of you. Is there, can we pick a date when I'll have to defend you next?
Past performance is not indicative of future results. Just because we have screwed up in the past doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do it in the future.
If Opie ever has to apologize one more time for the sex for Sam thing, you're going to go explode.
We try not to apologize too much.
I've heard you guys on some pretty racy
For the subject matter we covered, the cursing isn't that important. I mean, on FM, obviously, FCC, we're not allowed to curse. We covered the same subject matter we did on XM.
Should there be any limits on terrestrial radio?
I guess there's got to be as far as language goes. I think the subject matter should really, they should allow a lot more adult-oriented subject matter. I don't even mean, talking blatantly about graphic sex, but just be able to have an adult conversation
I've always
on FM
been
radio.
of the mind, if you don't like what you're saying, Howard's saying, I'm saying, or turn the dial.
Absolutely.
And if you don't want your kids to listen, don't let them have access to a radio.
There you go.
Last question. You guys talk a lot about people that abandon you during the time that you were off radio.
Right.
I sense a lot of payback is coming. And when you first went to XM, people wouldn't come on your show.
Guests we had a hard time getting.
There's some real retribution.
The payback is coming with the success that we're having now, knock wood. Getting this gig, the best of both worlds.
People all of a sudden changed that didn't like you, didn't want anything to do with you. Now they're back.
We had Richard Dreyfuss on our show the other day, who never, ever would have considered coming on the Opie and Anthony show.
Well, I can't stand him.
Do you really want to be that acceptable?
We didn't have to talk politics, though. We just talked movies with
talked
them.
movies. Loved them in Jaws.
Now, you two disagree politically, but you don't really get into that stuff. So how do you choose subject matter? It's not really based on the politics or news of the day, right?
We just, we pretty much wing it.
What
every
guys
day.
talk about on a daily basis?
We just go through the newspaper and see what's hot, and then we just turn the mics on and go.
So Opie's like a liberal. He looks at his multi-million-dollar check and says, I need to pay more in taxes.
I'm a moderate. I'm right in the middle.
And I like the
Don't you pay too much in taxes?
Absolutely.
So then you're coming my way. It took a while.
I'm getting there slowly.
Doing that? Who takes a lot more to get money?
Liberals. This guy.
I personally take your money, right?
All right.
Yeah, I'm spending that money.
Don't put us into the position to defend you too soon. Give us a little buffer.
We're gonna hang for a while.